Rodney Marks was a bright, promising astrophysicist whose life was tragically cut short under mysterious circumstances while he was working at one of the most remote places on Earth, the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. This is his story. Hey guys, welcome back to Crimeco, your go-to channel for some intriguing and incredible true crime stories. Before we continue with today's case, remember to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. Help this true crime community grow even more. So buckle up and get ready to go on a wild ride with us. Rodney David Marks was born on March 13, 1968, in Geelong, Victoria, Australia. Marks was a talented and well-respected astrophysicist, known for his work in optical astronomy and his contributions to Antarctic research. He had a passion for his work and was described by colleagues as intelligent, enthusiastic, and personable. Marks had previously worked at the South Pole Station and was familiar with its challenging environment. The Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, located at the geographic South Pole, is one of the most isolated research stations in the world. It is operated by the United States Antarctic Program, USAP, and hosts a small group of scientists and support staff who endure extreme conditions to conduct vital research. The station operates under the Antarctic Treaty System, which promotes scientific cooperation and bans military activity on the continent. Rodney Marks arrived at the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station in November 1999 as part of the station's winter over crew. He was working on the Antarctic Submillimeter Telescope and Remote Observatory, AST/RO project, which aimed to study the interstellar medium and star formation in the Milky Way. Marks' role was critical, and he was one of the few astrophysicists with the expertise to manage the sophisticated instruments. On May 11, 2000, Rodney Marks began experiencing symptoms of nausea, stomach pain, and difficulty breathing. Initially, he and his colleagues thought it might be related to the station's environmental conditions, such as carbon monoxide poisoning or altitude sickness, as the South Pole's high altitude and extreme cold can exacerbate health issues. Here is a timeline of events leading to Rodney Marks' death. On May 11, 2000 in the morning, Rodney Marks begins to feel unwell, experiencing symptoms such as nausea and abdominal pain. Initially, he dismisses these symptoms as minor and continues with his work. Later that afternoon, as the day progresses, Marks' condition worsens. He reports feeling increasingly nauseous and starts experiencing severe stomach pain. He visits the station's physician, Dr. Robert Thompson, for the first time. In the evening, Marks' symptoms intensify, and he becomes more distressed. He returns to Dr. Thompson multiple times, seeking relief. Dr. Thompson suspects that Marks might be suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning or altitude sickness and administers oxygen therapy, pain relief medication. The next day, May 12, 2000. Early in the morning, Rodney Marks' condition continues to deteriorate. He experiences episodes of vomiting and severe pain. Despite repeated visits to Dr. Thompson, his symptoms do not improve. By mid-morning, Marks becomes increasingly distressed and begins to experience difficulty breathing. Dr. Thompson and the medical team are at a loss to explain his worsening condition. They continue to administer oxygen and other. In the afternoon, Marks' health declines rapidly. He collapses and becomes unresponsive. The medical team initiates resuscitation efforts, but is unable to revive him. Rodney Marks is pronounced dead on May 12, 2000. Given the remote and isolated location of the South Pole Station, the immediate investigation into Marks' death was limited. The station's physician and staff conducted a preliminary examination and preserved samples for further analysis. The U.S. National Science Foundation, NSF, which manages the station, was notified, and arrangements were made to repatriate Marks' body to New Zealand, the nearest country with jurisdiction over the case. An autopsy was conducted on Marks' body in Christchurch, New Zealand, by forensic pathologist Dr. Martin Sage. The results were shocking. Rodney Marks had died from acute methanol poisoning. Methanol is a highly toxic form of alcohol that, when ingested, can cause symptoms such as headache, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, and, in severe cases, coma and death. The autopsy revealed that Marks had ingested a lethal dose, leading to multiple organ failure. Methanol poisoning can occur through ingestion, inhalation, or absorption through the skin. It is commonly found in industrial solvents, antifreeze, and as a contaminant in improperly distilled alcohol. The key questions arising from the autopsy were how and why Rodney Marks ingested methanol. Several theories emerged to explain the methanol poisoning. One possibility was that Marks had accidentally ingested methanol, mistaking it for ethanol, drinking alcohol. However, this theory seemed unlikely given Marks' familiarity with laboratory chemicals and the stringent protocols at the research station. Another theory suggested that Marks might have consumed contaminated alcohol. Home brewing alcohol was a common pastime at the station due to the limited supply of recreational substances, raising the possibility that a batch of homemade alcohol had been tainted with methanol. The most alarming theory was that Marks had been deliberately poisoned. This raised the specter of foul play within the tight-knit community of the research station. The investigation into Rodney Marks' death faced significant challenges. The remote location of the South Pole Station, extreme weather conditions, and the logistical difficulties of conducting a thorough investigation in such an isolated environment hampered efforts. Additionally, the station's small winter-over crew, which had lived and worked closely together for months, made it difficult to identify potential suspects or motives. The international nature of Antarctic research further complicated the investigation. The Amundsen Scott South Pole Station is a U.S. facility, but Rodney Marks was an Australian citizen, and his body was examined in New Zealand. This created jurisdictional complexities and required cooperation between multiple countries and agencies, including the NSF, the Australian Federal Police, AFP, and New Zealand authorities. One of the prevailing theories was that Rodney Marks' death resulted from accidental poisoning. Accidental ingestion of methanol could occur if it was mistaken for a consumable substance. In the laboratory setting of the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, methanol is used as a solvent and cleaning agent. Given the high standards of safety and protocol at such research facilities, it is improbable that Marks, a seasoned scientist, would accidentally consume methanol. Furthermore, the lethal dose found in his system suggests a substantial quantity, making accidental ingestion less plausible without some form of gross negligence or misunderstanding. The possibility that Marks had consumed contaminated alcohol gained traction due to the practice of home brewing at the station. Home brewing was a common pastime for the crew at the South Pole Station due to the limited supply of recreational substances. The hypothesis that a batch of home-brewed alcohol was contaminated with methanol is supported by the fact that methanol can be a byproduct of improper fermentation. However, thorough investigations of the station's brewing activities and interviews with the crew revealed no evidence of other individuals exhibiting symptoms of methanol poisoning. This suggests that if Marks consumed contaminated alcohol, he may have been the only one to do so, or he may have consumed a particularly concentrated portion. The theory of deliberate poisoning raised disturbing questions about life at the South Pole Station. Could someone have intentionally poisoned Rodney Marks? If so, what was the motive? Investigators explored the possibility of interpersonal conflicts, professional rivalries, or psychological issues among the crew. However, no clear evidence or suspects emerged, leaving this theory speculative. Deliberate poisoning is the most alarming theory and suggests that someone intentionally gave Marks a lethal dose of methanol. This theory hinges on several factors. Motive: what could drive someone to poison Rodney Marks? Investigators considered possible motives, such as personal vendettas, professional jealousy, or psychological instability among the crew. Opportunity: a small, close-knit community at the station means everyone had access to common areas and potentially to substances like methanol. However, no clear evidence pointed to any individual having both the motive and the opportunity to poison Marks. Behavioral analysis: psychological profiles and behavioral analyses of the crew members were conducted to identify any signs of abnormal behavior or conflict. Despite these efforts, no conclusive evidence of foul play was found. The investigation into Rodney Marks' death remained open for several years. The Australian Federal Police conducted inquiries, and the New Zealand coroner held an inquest in 2006. The coroner's report concluded that Marks had died of methanol poisoning, but was unable to determine the circumstances of how he ingested the substance. The mysterious death of Rodney Marks had a profound impact on the Antarctic research community. It highlighted the inherent dangers and challenges of working in such a remote and extreme environment. The case also prompted a review of safety protocols and medical facilities at Antarctic research stations to prevent similar incidents in the future. Beyond the scientific and investigative aspects, Rodney Marks' death was a personal tragedy. He was a talented scientist with a promising career ahead of him, and his loss was deeply felt by his family, friends, and colleagues. The unresolved nature of his death added to the emotional toll, leaving those who knew him searching for answers. The death of Rodney Marks remains one of the most puzzling cases in the history of Antarctic exploration. Despite extensive investigations and numerous theories, the exact circumstances of his methanol poisoning have never been definitively established. The case underscores the unique challenges of conducting scientific research in one of the most inhospitable places on Earth and serves as a somber reminder of the potential dangers faced by those who push the boundaries of human knowledge. As we reflect on the life and untimely death of Rodney Marks, we are reminded of the importance of safety, vigilance, and the enduring human spirit that drives exploration and discovery in the most extreme environments. The quest for answers continues, and the memory of Rodney Marks lives on in the annals of Antarctic research. That was all from us today. Do you think his death was just an unfortunate accident, or one of his colleagues is carrying a deadly secret? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay curious.